So recently I received a comment on a video and I thought, who better to ask about this question? So the comment read, the whole Dior Homme line is actually for women. You ain't a man when you're wearing this. So guys, do you believe that Dior Homme line of fragrances are for women, even though they're called Dior Homme, which stands for?
Which means man in French.
So I've got Ashley here. We're gonna break this all down, plus compare the Dior Homme line to a few other designer fragrances such as Prada L'Homme, Valentino Uomo, and a few others, all coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. If this is your first time on this channel and you love watching fragrance reviews, finding out about new fragrances, discovering new brands, participating in giveaways, and still haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. And once again, the whole Dior Homme line is actually for women. You ain't a man when you are wearing this. I was shocked when I got this comment. I thought maybe this person was on drugs or high or drunk, I don't know. But what do you think of this?
It's an interesting comment just because I could see them saying about almost any other Dior fragrance, right? But this is literally, it translates to Dior Man. So, while I feel like Dior Homme is a very unisex scent, I don't feel like it, like, you know, strays feminine in any way. I mean, everything that makes a fragrance male or feminine is very much like our preconceived notions, right? Like you grew up with, you know, your mom or dad, your mom wearing this and your dad wearing this and your grandpa wearing that. And so, you know, you start thinking this is for men and this is for women, especially in like the Western market. Like in other markets, fragrances are a lot more unisex, right? Where like couples wear show fragrances, and obviously you know, you guys probably wear a lot of niche, which is usually branded as unisex. And I'm not gonna say that, you know, Dior Homme is strictly masculine, because I think it's an iris, and iris is a very unisex note.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but it does have like a cologne. There's a citrus part to it that I feel like reminds me of a cologne. Super small part in it to me. Overall, Dior Homme is a beautiful powdery, ambery iris.
So that's Dior Homme, the original. Are you talking about the
original?
Yeah,
yes.
Citrusy part aspect of this. Let's smell it real quick.
To me, that helps lean it more unisex, masculine. And it is a floral, right? Iris is a flower.
Yeah.
Although, granted, we use the roots, which gives it, you know, it is earthy. Also, I think more traditionally seen in men's fragrances.
This is the freshest out of all. Well,
yes.
The cologne is really fresh, but we're not talking about really. The cologne is a little different. This is the main one. This is the one that started it.
There's nothing about this to me that veers super feminine, right? Like I'm not getting a bouquet. You know, the florals are very abstract. They're mixed with spices. They're mixed with ambers and labdanum. And iris has such a leathery facet to it, which is also very masculine.
Totally. Do you think that they were referring to, sometimes the Dior Homme line comes off like lipstick.
Okay.
Do you think maybe that's what they were referring to, that it was for women? I
mean, that I find interesting about all these lipstick things. I know iris is like in Lipstick Rose by Frederic Malle, right? The iris and violet notes in that are taken for lipstick. Clearly lipstick smelled a lot better back in the day, because when I buy like my MAC lipstick or whatever it is, it doesn't smell all that great, you know?
No, it doesn't.
It smells waxy. I feel like lipstick isn't perfumed the same way that it was. But you know, if the women in his life, like growing up, did have women that wore lipstick, then, and it was more vintage-y lipstick, then maybe that's why he has that association to it. And perfume is really personal.
So this one's the Intense, which is also...
Oh, I love the Intense.
An EDP concentration. Right there. The Intense also has ambrette, which I love. And then we have the Parfum.
And that's my all-time favorite version.
That's the sexiest.
The person that would say that this is for women, like, would literally only wear like Cool Water. You know, like or like Polo Ralph Lauren, or the original Gentleman by Givenchy. Like, nowadays, like literally since maybe like the 50s or 60s, like modern fragrances, even when you get to like, I don't know, like even really old fragrances like the colognes, right? Like when you think of the first colognes that came out, those are super unisex.
Those are
They're
very
citruses.
unisex.
So masculine perfumes that are truly masculine are really rare. Most fragrance
They don't make
releases,
them anymore.
they don't make them anymore.
Like in the 80s, all those powerhouses were very masculine.
And I'm okay that they don't. You know, like I love Kouros and some of like the old, like really like animalic fragrances. They're great, but sometimes they are starting to smell a little bit dated, you know, to a younger
Absolutely.
consumer. If you don't study fragrances, like for example, like I love older fragrances, but I'm not going to pretend that I loved older fragrances when I was 18. It's something that took me a while to come around to. And so, as far as like crowd pleasers, Kouros is not going to be a crowd pleaser.
Oh no, that's all civet.
Yeah, and I think, you know, for the most part, unless they're going to be aquatic or like a sport version, right, where it's like girls aren't going to smell like them just because they remind them of Axe, most of the more refined releases are going to be unisex. Because, you know, girls have always been leaning more towards masculine tendencies, whether
Yeah.
it's like in clothing, right? Like, you know, we still embrace like an androgynous clothing trend. Like women, we still like our ambers and our woods, and that's reflected in a lot of fragrance releases.
Very popular.
Yeah.
When you said ambers and woods, they have
Yeah.
a fragrance called Amber Woods at Bath and Body Works.
Works. So, you know, I think women's fragrances are veering away, and we're all kind of just meeting in the middle as far as these trends go.
Do you really think that there should be a gender associated with a fragrance?
No. If it smells good, it smells good, and you should wear it.
Just wear it.
Just wear it.
If you're a man and you like the way the flowers smell.
Yeah. And honestly, I think there is just something kind of different in the way like men and women's skins smell, you know, or just our perceptions of people. Like if I see a manly man, no matter what he's wearing, a manly man, whatever, if I see someone that presents as masculine, right? No matter what that person is wearing, like it's gonna smell more masculine to me just because of what I see, right? Or when a girl is wearing something, even if she's wearing a cologne, you know, I'm not gonna think, oh, it's a cologne. I'm gonna be like, oh, it smells feminine because I'm seeing it on a girl.
Yeah.
Like when I wear Cologne Pour Un Homme, no one thinks it's a cologne. And that's one of the most classic men's fragrances of all time.
Yeah. I think what happens is if a man wears florals, he's going to bring out the masculinity in
Parts
the
of
florals.
it, exactly.
And if a woman wears
Ambers, woods.
yeah, they're going to bring out the femininity in it.
Totally.
So this is the cologne version of Dior Homme. I only have 4 versions of it. This one's very, very unisex.
Super grapefruit.
Yeah, it's very fresh.
This is so good.
Do you know, we've already spoke about this in our Designer 20 video. So there's 3 fragrances, well, there's 4 probably from the Valentino line, and there's 3 from the Prada line.
Yeah.
So Prada L'Homme is one that's sort of similar to Dior Homme. And we selected this in our video.
I liked it.
What do you think would be the differences if we're comparing this to, oops, Dior Homme. That's Dior Homme. So these 2 right here. You did say there was something lavendery in here.
There's something lavender. I get some geranium. I think this is a little bit more herbal than
one is it?
iris. The Prada. Which one is this?
This is Prada L'Homme.
Okay, if you want to call it Prada Black is my issue. The Prada Black to me is more
You mean
herbal.
the Prada L'Homme?
Dear goodness, I'm so sorry, guys. The Prada L'Homme, I get more like geranium, cedar, patchouli, something herbal. It's not nearly as floral.
As this one.
Yeah.
So this one's even more masculine.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
But not as good, honestly.
Not as good as Dior
Not
Homme.
as good as the Dior Homme. Sure, it's more masculine, but I would still rather any man in my life wear the Dior Homme. Not that the Prada isn't nice. I put it in my top 20. I think it's a really nice fragrance, but Dior Homme made number 2, so obviously it's one of my favorite fragrances.
This one is Valentino Uomo. This one's nuttier. Hazelnuts.
And this one I think is more similar to Dior Homme.
You think?
Then the Prada L'Homme, yeah.
But we left this off. Well, actually, I had brought.
We left it
The
off
Intense.
because it was so similar to the Dior Homme.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right. You
I
thought
did.
it was-
I felt like it wasn't unique enough to make the top 20. Not that it doesn't smell good. It totally does.
Okay.
I just thought there was a lot of overlap. It's its own fragrance.
And then, speaking of the intense versions, we have Prada's L'Homme Intense. And if we compare that to
The
Dior Homme Intense,
the Prada L'Homme Intense smells a lot different from the original Prada,
it does?
in my opinion, yeah. This really doubles down on the iris.
This is
The Dior Parfum.
the Dior Homme Intense.
Oh, Dior Homme Intense, okay.
Yeah. Oh man, it's so much better.
And it smells really different from this to me here.
Oh, wow.
The iris isn't a major player in this anymore.
That is the Prada. Wow, it's so much. When I'm comparing them, there's this metallic touch to this one. What is that?
Maybe like an osmine, which is like it's literally a metallic chemical that's found in some naturals. Could be the linalool too. Sometimes that adds a metallic effect.
And then finally, the Givenchy Gentleman Givenchy Intense, or EDP.
Love this one.
So what do you think? Do you think they were all inspired from one another?
The Valentino was more so inspired by the Dior Homme. Just from what I've been smelling, you can really pick up the iris in the Valentino. The Prada, it's there, but I feel like it has its own personality, and I think that's why I put it in my top 20, because it was an individual fragrance. Where the Valentino Uomo could almost be a flanker of the Dior Homme.
Okay, and what do you think about the Givenchy Gentleman Givenchy? Do you think it's similar to Dior Homme Intense?
I think it's similar to the Dior Homme, where the iris note in it is similar, but everything else is different. It's surrounding itself with different things. So for me in the Dior Homme, it's like a leathery iris, and then it's a powdery, it's surrounded kind of in powders and a little bit of citrus. The Gentleman Givenchy the Dior Homme was also a lot drier. The Gentleman Givenchy is more ambery, it's more earthy than Dior Homme.
Interesting.
It's also a little bit less refined, a little bit more, you want to lean in and smell it, a little bit more animalic.
Wow. And this is probably one we haven't talked about. Do you know this brand, Loewe?
Yeah.
Spanish brand? And what do you think of this compared to the Givenchy? Then compared to Dior Homme?
I don't really like it.
You don't really like it?
We'll let the alcohol dry out a little bit, because
Okay.
I think that's what it is. I really love the Givenchy.
The Givenchy is awesome.
Yeah.
But what is it about this one? Is it just too alcohol-y?
Yeah, I guess it's not as rich or warm. It feels like a really diluted Dior Homme.
Interesting. But you do pick up the similarities of
Yes.
the Dior Homme.
A lot. It still has like a carroty iris.
There was supposed to be a carrot note in here.
Okay.
Did you know that there was carrot?
No, I had no.
Carrot
I've never
seed.
heard of this.
Wow. You got that one really.
Well, that's what I smell.
Wow. You pick up carrots. Wow. Okay.
Where I think
You are a
don't
perfumer.
We hope one day. But I feel in the Dior, you don't immediately think of carrots just because of how well blended the iris is and everything. Here again, it's like a very diluted iris, and therefore you get the more carroty facets.
So let me ask you this. Brings up an interesting question. You mentioned carroty iris, and they put carrot seeds. Does iris typically have carroty qualities?
Definitely. So the root itself has some of the same volatile organic compounds as iris does. And also sometimes when you're trying to make an iris fragrance, iris is very expensive. Carrot is also really expensive, but you can kind of mix it in with the iris to bolster the note for a little bit cheaper when you're blending. But carrot is a beautiful note in itself, and again, it's not a cheap note by any means. It's just slightly cheaper than iris, which is why they might mix it in.
Interesting. Okay, so then it's not like a marketing where they put carrot, but they're actually using iris to call it carrot.
No. If anything, it'd be the other way around. They would put carrot and call it iris, but not put iris and call it carrot.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. All right, but you don't like this one as much. It's under the LVMH parent company
Sure.
with the Dior and the Givenchy.
It's not that it's bad, it's just, it's not very strong. It's really diluted. The thing is, if I smelled this by itself, not comparing it to Dior Homme, I feel like this would be a nice fragrance. But comparing it to Dior Homme, it feels diluted and kind of weak.
Interesting.
In its concentration and in its composition.
Should we not compare to Dior Homme then?
On its own, it's perfectly fine.
Okay.
Not to damn it with praise, but...
This line is probably one of the best men's
Exactly.
lines.
You're literally comparing this poor fragrance to one of the best men's fragrances of all time.
Yeah.
This could have even maybe made the top 20 list. Like, I don't know, but it's like, it's not gonna stand up to the Dior Homme.
And guys, once again, I think the rumor is true. Dior Homme Parfum is discontinued. I've been doing a lot of research and a lot of retailers are not selling it, so it's a bummer. I don't know if they'll bring it back in a different form, like they brought back Dior Eau Sauvage Parfum in the 2017 edition, but if you can get your hands on Dior Homme Parfum, get it until they run out, because I can't find it at a lot of places anymore, which is a bummer. This is my favorite designer fragrance.
You know, I really didn't think it could get better than Christian Dior Homme, and then I smelled the Parfum and I was like, wow, it really is just a richer, more beautiful version of Dior Homme.
Yeah. So guys, what do you think, again, now that we've gone through the whole line, do you think the Dior Homme line is actually for women? Do you think a man should not wear the Dior Homme? It should be worn by women? Let us know in the comments. And what do you think about comparing these other designer fragrances to the Dior Homme line of fragrances? And are you a fan of the Dior Homme line, or you're not? Maybe you're a fan of one of these other fragrances and not the Dior Homme line. Let us know. Put some comments down. Let's get a conversation started. Also, please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.